I could have bought a 2023 Cadillac Escalade V with over 600 horsepower. I could have bought 4 Toyota Camrys, brand new Toyota Camrys. I could have bought a 2023 Porsche Panamera GTS. But as you guys know, I am very, very crazy. So I did not do neither of those scenarios. What I did do is went out and waited 2.5 years to bring home one of the most special components to ever enter my lab, period. Do you want to know what that is? Stay tuned and find out. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe, hit that like button and that notification button so that you are informed each time I release a new video. Over the last few days, perhaps a week or so, you guys have been watching my videos with a special component that I have yet to release. Today you're going to find out what that component is. A lot of the commentary on the last 2 videos with regards to my system came primarily from me. I am a believer that right now this is the best system. All the pieces together, everything assembled, the best I have ever had in my room. A lot of you guys are in agreement with those statements. Of course, having owned a ton of different components, speakers, amps, preamps throughout my journey, which you guys should have watched. If you haven't seen my journey, I will link the video on the description below right now so you guys have an understanding of the level of components, gear that I have owned. This is not borrowed equipment. This is not on loan from a dealer. This is not here, use it, and let me give me your thoughts about a component. This is not anything like that, okay? Everything you guys have seen on that video is mine, was mine, okay? Nothing is given here at jayaudiolab. I want to make sure that you guys understand, and this piece here is no different. That said, the excitement that came to me when I was contacted by a subscriber and they voiced to me that they had this particular component in their possession, I couldn't believe it. I honestly thought it was a dream. Read that email multiple times just to understand if what I was reading was real. Tried to pinch myself a couple of times, and it was a reality, guys. Anyway, we went back and forth, talked about the component itself, the condition, and it is now here. This component was announced in April of 2017. I believe this is the best component to come out of this particular brand. In my opinion, there is no better component that this brand currently makes, period. My opinion. With that said, I am very pleased to announce the GOAT, the best electronic, the best audio component I have ever owned in the lab. Meet my Boulder 3010 at 130 pounds. This is, to me, the best looking component I have ever owned, and sonically it has no rivals in its path. Take a look at the beautiful display of this particular unit. there are 3 sets of XLR outputs. 3. Think about that. You can connect your amplifiers, 4 monos and 2 subs. You can do 4 subs and 2 monos, and you actually have individual control over the gain of each output from the actual line stage. You can control how much juice the line stage puts out to each individual piece. Think about that for a minute. Okay, this unit to me looks like a control center. I actually contacted Boulder and I asked them, why does the 3010 look different than the 2110, which I also own in here? And they said that they wanted to make the 3010 special. The way they were telling, the intent here was to make it look like a control center. I'm assuming it is to get the end user excited to walk up to the piece and play with the buttons and want to interact with it and pretty much leave the remote control behind. Which, by the way, the remote control is killer. It's got buttons on the front and it's got buttons on the back, and it's metal. It's very heavy. Very different than the remote control of the 2110, because this one has 2 sides to it. Okay? Guys, the sheer beauty of this piece, the way it feels, just screams quality. By the way, there may not be a single dealer in the entire United States that displays a 3010. Not only do I have the 3010, but I also have, as you can see, the 2110. So I can talk all day long about the differences between both line stages because I own them. They're here. I'm not reading magazines. I have them in here. And I'm going to say to you that I have never imagined that a component can do the things that the 3010 can do. Earlier on this video, I said that I felt this is the best component that I've ever owned, and I really stand behind that. This component, to me, has given me a whole new feeling when it comes to what is really the most important component in a system. For years, I have been in love with power amplifiers. As a matter of fact, you guys know my journey began with power amplifiers. That was my passion. All the way from going as far back as 2008 through 2022, I have owned a ton of power amplifiers because I always felt that the power amplifier was the most special component in a system. But over the last 2 years, I began to hesitate that thought process. I began to doubt myself when it comes to that. When it comes to the most important component in a system, I went from thinking it was perhaps my MSB Select 2 DAC, okay, because before this I owned the reference DAC, so Select 2 DAC completely transformed my system without a doubt. But I'm here to tell you, when you put a 3010 behind it, the 3010 will really show you what your system is made of. It will leave absolutely nothing behind, period. If you got garbage, you will hear garbage. If you got a serious source, you will hear the source, the way it was designed to be heard, the way it was meant to be heard. In my opinion, the transparency, the resolution, the clarity that you guys have heard, especially over the last 2-3 videos. Guys, this is not coincidence. This is coming from the 3010. That sheer clarity where things sound real. Instruments have density. When you hear things going right to left, left to right, it feels as if it's fireworks, shotguns, blasting off in the room. That immediacy, how fast it is. I thought I knew fast components. I was under the impression I knew what immediacy meant. No, this here told me what that means. It is so lightning fast. It feels as if it is an electric vehicle when it takes off. You know how the electric vehicles are so immediate, right? They just take off. There's absolutely no revving of RPMs. They just, boom, they're gone. Hit the gas and you're gone. That is how the 3010 feels. It absolutely startles me at times. Now, of course, at an MSRP of $142,000, unfortunately, it is not within everybody's reach. And I get that. But I'm going to tell you that what I am excited about is trying this 3010 with perhaps a more affordable amplifier. Say, why don't I tell you what I got? Why don't I tell you what I got? What about this? Why don't we try right there a 2160? What do you think about that? Why don't I try a 2160 Boulder? I have one in here. I have a 2160 that I can try with the 3010 and see how the 2160 behaves with a better preamplifier. Why don't I try my Constellation stereo that's sitting right there on the floor? I think that would be a great exercise, right? What I want to see is how impressive this preamplifier is with more affordable amps. Can this preamplifier transform an average amplifier into an incredible amplifier? Is that even possible? See, those are things that I can tell you are of high interest to me. The Boulder 3060, in my opinion, yes, it is one of the most impressive stereo amplifiers I've ever owned. But it needs its siblings. It needs either a 2110 or a 3010 preamplifier to truly understand what the amplifier is capable of. If you do not have a world-class pre, I believe the 3060 never showcases its capabilities. Now, a lot of you guys are always trying to take shortcuts. Let's keep it real. You guys are always saying, well, you really do not need a preamplifier because if you got a world-class DAC or a great DAC that can do the job of a preamplifier, it's better. It's going to give you more nuance. It's going to give you more clarity. It's going to give you this. It's going to give you that. How about this? I dare you all. Bring any DAC, whoever you are that's watching me. I bet money, any amount of money you want. Bring any DAC, cost no object. I don't care who it is. Bring it into my room and compare it against the 3010. Let's do that. This preamp will squash any DAC that I know of. I got a MSB DAC right here. Right here. Okay? And it is an amazing DAC. Amazing. Works amazing as a preamplifier. It will actually probably replace a lot of preamplifiers in many systems. It ain't going to touch a 3010. I'm here to tell you that. So if you're thinking that your DAC is the way to go and use no preamplifier, bring it. Bring it. Let me show you. Let me school you for a minute what a real preamplifier does. Let me show you the sheer control and speed. Let me show you the bass, the soundstage, the clarity, the definition, the articulation, the nuance, everything that a real preamplifier does. Most of you guys are just comparing DACs to average preamplifiers. So of course that conversation is going to prove to be true. I understand your train of thought when you're thinking that way. Because yeah, a DAC will probably beat an average preamplifier. But it can't touch something like this, guys. Come on. It can't do that. I can grab this 3010 and bring it into any of you guys' systems. Any system right now that you guys have. I can grab this, put it in your system, and you are going to do backflips all night long. If you heard this thing. Backflips. the way your system is right now. I can bring a 3010, insert it. I don't care what you got. It will transform your system. This is why I believe the 3010, in my opinion, is the most special component that I have ever owned. And I'm here to tell you, it will be the component that will continue to walk down the road with me, down my journey. And I'm here to tell you that the 3010 will be that component that will continue to stay close to me, because it was hard, very difficult to get my hands on it. And I'm not planning to let it go anytime soon. What I want to do is experiment. I want to be able to play with this thing and connect different amplifiers. Specifically, what I'm curious to do, guys, what I'm really excited to do is to bring, let's say, a Luxman, the M10X, priced at around $20,000. Can this preamplifier make that Luxman sound that much better? How much better can an average sounding amplifier, how much better can an average sounding amplifier get when you put a world-class line stage like this? Because I'm a believer that this is the control center indeed. And Jeff over at Boulder, absolutely right about that. Your comment is true. I do feel like I am in the cockpit of an airplane when I'm in front of the 3010. But I'm going to say this to you guys, that after having this 3010 for about a week and a half maybe, it is impossible to hear my system without it. I have gone back to the 2110, and yes, the 2110 is an amazing line stage. I am in love with the 2110. As a matter of fact, had I not located a 3010, I would have hang on to my 2010 for as long as I can, because I believe it is an amazing preamplifier. But at twice the price, or more than twice the price of the 2110, the 3010 shows you the deficiencies of the 2110. But it takes a preamplifier of this caliber to expose the things that perhaps the 2110 doesn't do, the shortcomings of the 2110. Now, I know you guys want to know what those shortcomings are. How is the 3010 better than the 2110? What do you get for an extra $72,000? I know you guys are very excited to find out, but that's going to be for another video. For now, that is all I've got. I thank you for your time. Thank you for all the support. And please do not forget to subscribe. Until the next time, take care. Peace.